What happens when fists drop, gloves come off, and love steps into the cage? Behind every fight, there's a story. But behind every fighter, there's often a deeper one, a love story. From the highs of championship belts to the lows of public breakups, this is the untold world of female MMA fighters who fell in love inside the fight game. Let's count down the most cinematic, chaotic, and captivating relationships that were forged under pressure and sometimes torn apart by it. Number 12, Rachel Ostovich and Arnold Burton. At first glance, their story seemed like a fairy tale. Rachel Ostovich, the Hawaiian beauty with a warrior's heart, and Arnold Burton, a fellow island fighter with a shared love for discipline and legacy. The two connected early on, bonded by their local roots, the fighting culture of Hawaii, and their shared dream to conquer the MMA world. Together, they had a daughter and looked like the perfect fight couple, strong, humble, and in love. But in 2018, the fairy tale shattered. Burton was arrested and charged with second-degree assault after a brutal domestic violence incident. Rachel suffered a broken orbital bone, forcing her to withdraw from a fight. The MMA community was stunned. UFC fans rallied around her, and she bravely chose to continue fighting while navigating legal battles and divorce. In the end, Rachel came back stronger, a symbol of resilience. She didn't just survive, she overcame. Number 11, Michelle Waterson and Joshua Gomez. Before she was the karate hottie, Michelle Waterson was a struggling waitress with a black belt in karate and a dream bigger than her paychecks. Enter Joshua Gomez, a former U.S. Army boxing coach. Their paths crossed in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and their chemistry was instant. Both fighters in their own way, both driven by discipline and devotion. Joshua became Michelle's #1 supporter, always in her corner, literally and metaphorically. As Michelle climbed the UFC ladder, competing in atomweight and later strawweight divisions, Joshua handled home life, coaching, and fatherhood. They married in 2012 and welcomed a daughter soon after. Balancing motherhood, media pressure, and fight prep isn't easy, but Michelle credits Joshua for keeping her steady. He's her protector and her grounding force. Through wins and losses, their love has been unshaken, proving that behind every strong woman is a man who trains just as hard to help her shine. Number 10, Cat Zingano and Mauricio Zingano. Cat Zingano's MMA story is one of relentless grit, but her personal life is what truly defines her strength. She married Mauricio Zingano, a respected Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt and gym owner. He wasn't just her husband, he was her coach, her business partner, and her emotional foundation. Together, they built a life around fighting. Mauricio helped Cat prepare for some of her biggest UFC moments, including her iconic victory over Miesha Tate. But in January 2014, everything changed. Mauricio tragically took his own life, sending shockwaves through the MMA community and devastating Cat, who was left to raise their young son alone. In the midst of heartbreak, Cat kept fighting. She stepped into the octagon just a year later and earned a title shot against Ronda Rousey. Though she didn't win the belt that night, she won the world's respect. A widow, a mother, a warrior who refused to give up. Number 9, Juliana Pena and Luis Alejandre. Before she shocked the world by defeating Amanda Nunes, Juliana Pena was a fiery underdog with a point to prove. Hailing from Spokane, Washington, she broke into the mainstream by winning The Ultimate Fighter in 2013, and soon after met Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach Luis Alejandre. Their romance blossomed in the gym, rooted in shared struggle and Latin pride. Luis played a major role in Juliana's comeback after a serious knee injury. They trained together, traveled together, and built a family, welcoming their daughter in 2018. But the real headline came in December 2021, when Pena dethroned Amanda Nunes in one of the biggest upsets in UFC history. Who was in her corner that night? Luis, emotional, proud, and beaming. Theirs is a love story of mutual elevation. Juliana isn't just the Venezuelan vixen. She's a mother, a fighter, and a woman who proves that having love in your corner can take you all the way to the top. Number 8, Mackenzie Dern and Wesley Santos. Mackenzie Dern was MMA royalty even before she set foot in the cage. The daughter of BJJ legend Wellington, Megaton Diaz, she was bred for greatness. In 2018, she married Wesley Santos, a Brazilian surfer known for his laid-back charm and athleticism. The two looked picture-perfect, constantly posting family content, traveling between Brazil and California, and welcoming their daughter Moa in 2019. But cracks began to show. Behind the sun-soaked Instagram posts were fights, disagreements, and instability. In 2022, Mackenzie filed for divorce, citing verbal and emotional abuse. Allegations included financial manipulation and aggressive behavior, a shocking revelation that painted a much different picture than the one fans had seen. Despite the emotional storm, Mackenzie stayed active in the UFC, becoming one of the division's most exciting fighters. Her story became not just about submission holds, but breaking free from a toxic grip and winning. Number 7. Tatiana Suarez in Patchy Mix, formerly Christopher Sykes. Tatiana Suarez is the definition of resilience. Once an Olympic hopeful in wrestling, her dreams were derailed by a devastating neck injury and a thyroid cancer diagnosis. But she didn't fold. She fought back. Rising through the MMA ranks, she became a dominant force in the strawweight and flyweight divisions. In her early UFC career, Tatiana was in a relationship with Christopher Sykes, a fellow wrestler and coach who supported her through her battles with injury and recovery. Their bond, forged in hardship, was visible, especially as he helped corner her during her early wins. But as life and careers evolved, so did their paths. Today, Tatiana is in a relationship with Patchy Mix, the former Bellator bantamweight champion who has now made the leap to the UFC. When Patchy debuted in the UFC, Tatiana was right there by his side, not just as a partner, but as a pillar of support. The two elite grapplers now train together, share the same championship mindset, and uplift each other in a sport that rarely offers second chances. From cancer survivor to top contender, and from Bellator king to UFC newcomer. Tatiana and Patchy's journey is a story of reinvention, loyalty, and shared ambition inside and outside the cage. Number 6. Tecia Torres and Raquel Pennington. Tecia Torres and Raquel Pennington. Two top-tier UFC contenders, two fierce warriors, and one of the most authentic, visible same-sex love stories in MMA. Their paths crossed inside the fight scene, and what started as mutual admiration quickly transformed into a deep, undeniable connection. Raquel, a gritty striker from Colorado, and Tecia, a dynamic taekwondo artist from Florida, began dating in 2016. They weren't just partners in life. They became training partners, motivators, and the calm in each other's chaos. But their journey wasn't without turbulence. Both women suffered consecutive losses inside the octagon, drawing public scrutiny. Critics whispered that love might have dulled their competitive edge, but Tecia and Raquel never flinched. In 2021, they got engaged. A year later, they married. In 2023, they welcomed their first child, and with it, a new chapter. Their love story is bold, proud, and battle-tested. Together, they're redefining what strength and softness can look like in combat sports. Number 5. Jessica Andrade and Fernanda Gomes. Jessica Andrade isn't just one of the most explosive fighters the UFC has ever seen. She's a trailblazer in every sense. Born in the small town of Umuarama, Brazil, Jessica worked on her family's farm before discovering MMA. But it was Fernanda Gomes, a bright, driven woman she met in 2011, who gave Jessica's life a new kind of purpose. Their relationship blossomed quietly at first. Jessica was just breaking into the UFC, and Fernanda was her emotional anchor behind the scenes. Over the years, Fernanda transitioned into a more visible role, appearing in Jessica's corner and helping her cut weight, manage media pressure, and survive losses. In 2019, the couple married in Brazil, and despite ups and downs in the cage, their bond has never faltered. Jessica credits Fernanda with helping her become the first openly gay UFC champion, a moment that inspired LGBTQ fighters around the world. Number 4. Miesha Tate and Johnny Nunes. Miesha Tate, the woman who once choked out Holly Holm to steal UFC gold, found her match not in the cage, but in fellow fighter Johnny Nunes. They met in the tight-knit MMA scene, both competitive and ambitious, but it was their personalities that sealed the bond. Misha, fiercely independent. Johnny, endlessly supportive. After stepping away from MMA in 2016, Misha surprised fans again, this time with a baby announcement in 2018. She and Johnny welcomed their daughter, Amaya, and later a son. Their life shifted gears, from fighting camps to parenting naps. But the fire in Misha never died. In 2021, she staged a comeback, not for money, not for fame, but to prove something deeper. With Johnny in her corner and kids watching from home, she won her return fight with grit and poise. Their story is one of evolution, from athletes to parents, from lovers to lifelong teammates. Number 3, Amanda Nunes and Nina Nunes. Amanda Nunes isn't just a champion, she's the champion. The first woman to hold 2 UFC belts simultaneously, the GOAT of women's MMA. But behind every belt, every knockout, every roaring crowd was Nina. Nina Nunes, also a UFC fighter, met Amanda at American Top Team. Their bond began as training partners, turned into best friends, and eventually blossomed into love. Together they became MMA's ultimate power couple, sharing victories, defeats, and diapers. In 2020, the couple welcomed their daughter, Reagan Ann, via IVF. Amanda took time off to be a hands-on mom, and when she returned, she looked better than ever, dismantling opponents with calm precision, holding her baby in post-fight interviews. But their legacy goes beyond the cage. Amanda and Nina are proof that 2 women in love can also be 2 warriors, unapologetic, fearless, and deeply human. When Amanda retired in 2023, it wasn't the end, just a new beginning for a family built in the fire. Number 2, Rose Namajunas and Pat Barry. Rose Namajunas isn't like other fighters. She's philosophical, introspective, intense. And right beside her, through every high and low, has been Pat Barry. A former UFC heavyweight and kickboxing veteran, Pat met Rose when she was just a teenager, training at Duke Roufus's gym. Their relationship sparked controversy due to their age gap and power dynamic. Rose was 18 when they began dating. Critics were vocal, but the couple stayed the course. Pat eventually stepped back from fighting to focus entirely on coaching Rose. Pat was the voice in her corner when she became strawweight champion, twice. Their relationship walks a tightrope between mentorship and love, strategy and passion. Some call it complicated, others unbreakable. What's undeniable is that Pat believes in Rose more than anyone, and Rose, despite everything, continues to evolve under his care. Number 1, Ronda Rousey and Travis Browne. Ronda Rousey was the queen of MMA, an Olympic judo medalist turned UFC wrecking machine. But even queens fall, and in 2015, after her devastating loss to Holly Holm, Ronda went into a spiral, physically, emotionally, and mentally. That's when Travis Browne entered the picture. The two started dating that same year, shortly after Browne separated from his previous wife amid allegations of domestic abuse. Ronda stood by him publicly, a move that raised eyebrows and divided fans. But love, like fighting, is complicated. In Travis, Ronda found peace, stability, someone who didn't see Rowdy Ronda, but Ronda the person. They married in a private Hawaiian ceremony in 2017. In 2021, they welcomed their first child, Lakia Brown. Today, Ronda has left MMA behind, but her story with Travis continues. From the highs of superstardom to the depths of depression, Travis was her comeback, the love story behind the legend. These aren't just fighters. They're lovers, parents, partners. Behind every brutal round, every split decision, every bloody victory is a deeper battle being fought at home for trust, loyalty, and connection. In the end, the cage may break bodies, but love builds legacies. With that being said, thanks for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.